Every story has an official version, a beginning, a conclusion, a signature at the bottom of the page. But some stories don't end. They're interrupted, silenced, filed away. Tonight we open one of those files. This is Behind the Veil Truths. The day begins without distinction in a seemingly normal routine. No raised voices, no unfinished arguments, no sense of urgency. A phone alarm goes off at a familiar time. A routine followed hundreds of times before. Messages are sent. Some are read. Some receive brief replies. Location services are active. The battery is sufficiently charged. Nothing indicates deviation. Friends later describe the tone as normal. Family members recall no tension. Colleagues remember nothing out of place. This matters because disappearances rarely begin with chaos. They begin with structure, a known route, a predictable schedule, a digital footprint behaving exactly as expected. Life is proceeding in real time, logged, time-stamped, accounted for, until it isn't. According to official records, the timeline is uncomplicated. The phone connects to local cell towers as expected. Movement aligns with routine travel. At a specific moment, a final signal is registered. Investigators later describe it as a last known phone ping. The ping places the device within a service radius. Not exact, but sufficient. No emergency calls are made. No distress signals are triggered. No unusual network behavior is noted in the immediate logs. Authorities state that the phone likely powered down, lost signal, or was voluntarily turned off. Each explanation is technically plausible. The report notes no signs of forced interference, no confirmed malfunction, no indication of criminal activity. The case is classified as missing. Search procedures begin, then slow. From a procedural standpoint, everything appears in order. The file remains open, but inactive, and the explanation feels complete. In the shadowed corners of an abandoned investigation, stories began to weave together into a haunting tapestry. Behind the veil. Truths had always been about uncovering secrets that refused to stay buried. The team started their journey with optimism, eager to reveal what was hidden beneath layers of official explanations. But as they delved deeper, the cracks in the official narrative began to fracture. "Hey guys, we could really use some help," she whispered into the microphone, her voice trembling slightly. "We're stumbling upon things that don't make sense anymore," she admitted, her eyes searching the darkened room. "If you're still here, you already noticed it too," she said softly, her words hanging in the tense air. "Up to this point, everything we've seen fits the official version." She paused, hesitation creeping into her tone. "But this is where it starts to fracture," she declared firmly, pointing at the flickering monitor. "Because from here on, nothing behaves the way it should," she warned, her concern evident. The footage flickered irregularly, shadows dancing where they shouldn't be. And then, inexplicably, devices began to malfunction, refused to stabilize despite technical explanations. "Phones do not disappear cleanly," she recited, her voice tight with tension as she read from the notes. "When batteries fail, signals weaken," she continued, "but something was different this time. When coverage drops, reconnection attempts follow," she said, emphasizing the usual pattern. But then she pointed out that, in this case, none of that is documented, she explained. "The final ping is not distorted, not degraded," she observed, voice hushed with awe. "Not partial. It is stable," she added, a haunting realization settling over them. "And then, nothing," she concluded, eyes fixed on the silent screen. "No subsequent pings. No handoff between towers," she murmured, voice barely above a whisper. "No attempts to reconnect." The silence was deafening, she noted, a void that screamed. "Network logs show silence, not decay," she observed grimly, as if the device had simply ceased to exist. "Messages sent afterward are never delivered," she said, feeling the weight of unspoken questions. "Calls route directly to voicemail," she explained, voice thick with disbelief. "But voicemail status does not update," the team wondered aloud, troubled by the anomaly. "The phone never reappears on any network," she pointed out, a ghost in the system, she added. "No secondary signal, no roaming attempt." The pattern was chilling, she admitted. "No recovery ping." Which raises a quiet question. Why did the device stop behaving like a device, she asked openly. "This question is not addressed in public statements," she emphasized, frustration underlying her voice. "It does not appear in summaries," she continued, the official reports missing the core mystery. "It does not trigger escalation," she pointed out bitterly, official complacency setting in. "Instead, the absence is accepted," she stated softly, the silence being treated as an outcome. This was the beginning of patterns of power, a disturbing repeat happening across cases, she revealed, across jurisdictions. Across years, she listed, each case eerily similar in its silence. Phones that go silent without degradation. Signals that end without any technical struggle, she explained. Devices that never reconnect, she added, a pattern that felt almost deliberate and cold. In each instance, explanations remained unchanged. Administrative reasons like out of range or battery failure, she noted. But when explanations become too clean, she said, they stop being answers and start becoming placeholders. What is rarely discussed, she continued, is what happens next when no further analysis is pursued. Why forensic reconstruction is deemed unnecessary, she questioned, as if the answers were intentionally hidden. Why procedural sufficiency replaces investigative pressure, she added, growing more bitter. Files that remain open but no longer move haunted her thoughts, she confessed. Investigation yields to management, she summarized grimly, and conclusions are often prioritized over truth. If a phone can vanish digitally before a person vanishes physically, she asked quietly, which disappearance matters more? And who decides when a signal is no longer worth following? She pressed, eyes narrowing. Because once the signal ends, the trail begins to weaken, she said softly, almost inaudibly. And once it weakens, attention fades, she continued, not due to the truth being unveiled, but because the cost is too high. Some questions don't disappear, she stated firmly. There they wait patiently in the shadows. They wait for someone brave enough to look again, she added, voice tinged with a quiet hope. What do you think was never meant to be found? She asked, her voice echoing in the silence.